Do I have your permission to record this interview?
Yes, you do.
I am doing this for my interviewing class. Thank you for agreeing to interview about flight instructing. I'm gathering this information to learn how to be a better flight instructor myself. This interview should take about 5 minutes, and you can withdraw from the interview at any time. Do you have any questions before we begin?
No, I do not.
Alright, let's start off learning about your background. What influenced you to decide to become a flight instructor?
So all my friends have been flight instructors in the past, and they told me that it was the best way to be able to build your hours without having to pay a ridiculous amount of money. It's my next step to work towards becoming an airline pilot.
How do you think this reason affects the way you teach?
Well, I mean, a lot of people just are doing it for the hours, but I also enjoy being able to help students out because even when I feel like I don't know a lot, I know a lot more than, like, say, a private student. So no matter what I do, I'm able to help them and teach them and build on their knowledge to make them a better pilot.
So what teaching methods do you think works best for your students?
Well, see, that depends because every student learns differently. Some are more visual learners or, like, just hands-on, like, actual doing it. So we could be in a ground, and I could be trying to explain, like, a DME arc or a holding or an instrument approach. But some students never grasp it until we actually go out and fly it or do it in a simulator. So really, I just have to be adaptive, and just through the process of spending time with them, talking to them, just figuring out how they learn the best and adapting my teaching skills to that.
What skills have you learned as a flight instructor that you think makes you a better pilot?
Well, one of the biggest things is just professionalism and being knowledgeable over a wide area of subjects. And another thing is admitting when you're wrong, or if you don't know something with a student. That was a big thing. I always wanted to know everything, but sometimes they would ask questions I didn't know, so we would have to work together to be able to find that answer, and we both would learn something during a ground or flight. Just back to the professionalism part, being there for your student outside of flight instructing hours can be hard sometimes, especially if you have a busy life, but just learning how to balance everything between flying and your personal life.
So what skills best prepare you for your end goal as a career pilot?
My angle as a career pilot.
Your end career, I guess.
Oh, okay. I understand now. Well, really, time management and being able to work with a wide variety of people, because as an airline pilot, you're going to have to be customer service oriented. Most of the time, you're not always with the passengers, but you do have to interact with them before and after the flight, and even during the flight, just talking to them, especially knowing how to handle emergencies to keep everyone calm. Being able to do that with your students is going to let you do that in the future with more people.
Yeah, that makes sense. How should new instructors respond to students who do not seem to grasp a concept?
Well, main thing is being patient, because I'm sure when I was a student, there's some things I didn't really get at first, but my instructors were patient with me, so just being patient with your students is going to allow them to feel comfortable with you, and you just need to let them know that if they don't understand something, they need to tell you that, so you can try to figure out different ways to explain it, or just continue working on it. Because if they say they get it and you think they get it, and then you go out and if they get tested on it and then they fail, I mean, that just comes back on you not making sure that they knew it to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
So,
how can new instructors prepare for students making possibly dangerous mistakes?
well, you never want to get lax in, you never want to get comfortable. When you get comfortable, mistakes can happen. So at first, you're not going to let the student, if they are trying to land and one little thing looks off, most of the time you're going to take over and help the student out. The more experience you get, the further you can let that go, to a point where the further you can let them mess up until you have to take over. But important thing is not to get too comfortable, to let that go too far. Always know your limits and kind of what your student's capable of.
Mm-hmm.
But even especially with commercial students or just higher level students, they can make mistakes too, so you always got to be ready to catch that mistake.
So those are all the questions I have. Is there anything else that you would like to add?
No, just keep on working towards your goals of becoming an airline pilot.
Keep on keeping on.
Yeah.
All right, that completes this interview. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, no worries.